After the bombshell criminal charges that were filed against two members of the Duggars this past week, we are now doing a deep dive into this clan and the dark allegations surrounding this reality TV star family. From molestation accusations to religious teachings to child pornography to now charges of sexual abuse and false imprisonment. Let's discuss. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Well, after the bombshell arrests of two members of the famous Duggar family, we decided let's do a full deep dive into the Duggars. Okay, what we know, the allegations, the past, the shocking details, that's what we're going to do right now. Because we know this comes after 31-year-old Joseph Duggar was arrested on a Bay County, Florida warrant on charges of molesting a then 9-year-old girl back in 2020 during a family vacation. He's been charged with lewd and lascivious behavior. This is molestation of a victim less than 12 years old and lewd and lascivious behavior conducted by a person 18 years or older. And then days later, both he and his wife, Kendra, 27 years old, were hit with charges out in Arkansas. 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor in the second degree and 4 counts of false imprisonment. They have 4 kids together. Now, if I had to take a guess at what happened here, and we'll talk more about it, it seems that after those initial charges he's been hit with, they do an investigation, check in what's going on at the home, and something at the home is what spurred these new charges that are facing both of them. And by the way, when we talk about this show, 19 Kids and Counting, it had different variations of it, but it was a show that ran from 2008 to 2015. And that is when a dark accusation clouded over the show, led to its cancellation, and eventually we're even talking criminal charges that resulted. Now we're going to get into that more in a little bit, but I want to put all of this into context regarding the overall family in this deep dive. Now remember, this all started with Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, married since 1984, the parents on the TLC show 19 Kids and Counting. Well, first it was 17 Kids and Counting, then it was 18 Kids and Counting, began in 2008, and it followed the conservative Christian families' lives. Homeschooling, specialized outfits, it was a whole different world. And yes, 19 kids, 10 boys, 9 girls, all named beginning with the letter J. It's a massively popular show, by the way. 2014, to give you an idea, this is the year before the show was canceled, it was reported that the season premiere that year, at that time, averaged 3.29 million viewers. Think about how many people that is. Now, it's interesting. There was a documentary that came out a few years back on Amazon Prime. It was called Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets. And aside from the scandal that plagued the family, which we'll get into, one of the things that the documentary focused on was the teachings that motivated or guided the family. IBLP, Institute and Basic Life Principles. This was apparently led by Bill Gothard, who, by the way, has been accused of sexually harassing and assaulting dozens of women, even though he's denied those accusations. But Gothard is a guy who preached to millions these teachings of a male-dominated life, religion, strict lifestyle where you abandon, seemingly these vices like music and TV and dating and drinking. And the key here in the documentary was illuminated or illustrated by the co-director Olivia Christ, who said that the Duggars were, quote, the front-facing image of this insidious organization, her opinion. So it really focused on fundamental Christianity, homeschooling, seemingly these cruel forms of punishing children, how others spoke out about the teachings, that the Duggars were used as a way to normalize or clean up what this lifestyle was like. Now, Jim Bob, okay, we'll start with him. Former state legislator who at one point ran for U.S. Senate, also state Senate. People magazine reported that in 2020, him and his wife started flipping houses in Arkansas, not really in the public eye that much anymore. And it should be noted that as of 2024, they were grandparents to 33 kids, including 3 on the way. Pretty unbelievable. Now, speaking of family, here's what we got. Josh Duggar, married Anna Duggar, 7 kids. Now, things took a very disturbing turn when he was accused of molesting girls in 2002 and 2003, including 2 of his own sisters. These allegations came out in 2015. He was ultimately arrested, charged, and then convicted, not for that, but in 2022 in connection with possession and receipt of child pornography charges, even though that possession charge was vacated by a judge, and he was sentenced to 12 and a half years in prison. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but that is a big aspect of this story. You have John David Duggar, his twin sister, Jana Duggar. John David married Abby Grace Burnett. They have 3 kids together. Jana married Stephen Wisman. They have 1 child together. Jill Duggar married to Derek Dillard. They were apparently set up by Jim Bob. 3 children together, sadly lost a daughter in a pregnancy complication. By the way, here's something to know. Jim Bob and Michelle's 5th child, Jessa Duggar, married Ben Seawald. They apparently met through courting, so you're going to hear this sometimes. And the best way to describe it, I think, is the way Jim Bob had described what courting is. Quote, courting is getting to know each other in a group setting, both families spending time together and the couple setting goals together to determine if they're meant to marry. With dating, a couple will often pair off alone, and that sometimes leads to a more physical relationship. So a little bit of difference there. 6 kids together, by the way. By the way, Jill and Jessa also starred in their own show, Jill and Jessa, and then another show called Counting On that features other members of the Duggar family. You have Jinger Duggar, married Jeremy Wola. So you're talking ministry work, courting, 3 kids. We talked about Joseph and Kendra. We're going to get into a little bit more about their charges in a minute. You have Josiah Duggar, married Lauren Swanson, 3 kids. Joy Anna Duggar, 9th sibling, married Austin Forsyth, 3 kids. Got another pair of twins, Jedediah and Jeremiah Duggar. Jedediah married Katie Nakatsu, 4 kids. Jeremiah married to Hannah Wisman. Her brother is Jana's husband, as I mentioned before, so they have 3 kids. Jason Duggar, 12th child, married Maddie Grace. James Duggar, the 13th sibling, not married as of yet, not publicly courting anyone as far as we can tell. Justin Duggar, married to Claire Spivey. Jackson Duggar, 15th child. Johanna Duggar, 16th child. Jennifer Duggar, who was at one point the baby of the family, born in 2007. And then you round it out with Jordan Grace Duggar, born in 2008, and Josie Duggar, born in 2009. All right, real quick, I'm sure you've seen all the headlines about how so many Americans are struggling with debt right now, right? But then it shows up in your own numbers with rising balances and fees and minimum payments stretching out for years. Doesn't need to stay that way, though. Today's sponsor, PDS Debt, has helped hundreds of thousands escape debt, reduce what they owe, and take back control. So whether it's credit cards, personal loans, medical bills, PDS Debt has customized options to help you pay off debt faster. There's no minimum credit score required. They look beyond the numbers, and they design personalized plans to help put money back where it belongs, in your pocket. Also, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Yeah, every month you wait, it's going to cost you more, but your way out starts right now. When the numbers are clear, act. Take back control in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and the best option for you at pdsdebt.com/sidebar. That's pdsdebt.com/sidebar. pdsdebt.com/sidebar. But I got to go back to Josh. Josh, back in 2015, released a statement to people regarding these molestation accusations. He said, quote, 12 years ago, as a young teenager, I acted inexcusably, for which I am extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends. I confessed this to my parents, who took several steps to help me address the situation. We spoke with the authorities, where I confessed my wrongdoing, and my parents arranged for me and those affected by my actions to receive counseling. I understood that if I continued down this wrong road, that I would end up ruining my life. Now, it was reported that Jim, Bob, and Michelle, the parents here, knew about this, knew about Josh's allegations of molesting his own sisters. And in fact, Jim, Bob, and Michelle said in a statement at the time, Josh has resigned from his position at the Family Research Council as a result of the accusations becoming public, but his family has stood behind him. There was reporting that Jim, Bob, and Michelle knew about Josh's allegations of molesting his own sisters. And now that leads to a statement that they put out. It said, quote, back 12 years ago, our family went through one of the most difficult times of our lives. When Josh was a young teenager, he made some very bad mistakes, and we were shocked. We had tried to teach him right from wrong. That dark and difficult time caused us to seek God like never before. But you go back to that Amazon documentary, while you see accusations like this within the IBLP movement. Heather Heath, who was an ex-IBLP member, said, you can't exist without being accused of tempting a man to attack you. And then there was this statement from Josh Pease, a pastor, journalist, spoke out in the series. The Duggar family is not a bizarre fascination. It is a horrifying glimpse of a story that was told over and over and over again in so many different families. And you know what else happened? The 2 sisters who were accused of being molested, Jill Dillard, Jessa Seawald, they identified themselves as the ones who were abused. They spoke to then Fox News' Megyn Kelly. Jessa said what her brother did was very wrong, but that the reactions against him were going too far. Quote, I do want to speak up in his defense against people who are calling him a child molester or a pedophile or a rapist, some people are saying. I'm like, that is so overboard and a lie, really. I mean, people get mad at me for saying that, but I can say this because I was one of the victims. Now, Jim Bob had apparently admitted at one point that he had placed safeguards up to protect his daughters from Josh after what he found out what had happened, but it wasn't foolproof, saying nothing ever happened in the girls' bedrooms after that. So he had safeguards that protected them from that, but there was another incident, 2 different instances where girls were laying on the couch. Now, 19 kids and counting was taken off the air after these accusations came forward. And at one point, the police report was made public by In Touch back in 2015. And reportedly, Josh, when you look at this report, reportedly, Josh had confessed to his father multiple times, 3 separate occasions. And the revelation that the Duggars allegedly waited at least 16 months before reaching out to authorities. And In Touch discussed that the reason for there not being charges in connection with this was that there was a statute of limitations issue, that this ran by 2006 when the investigation started, and that Jim Bob and Michelle could have been criminally charged and faced charges in prison for not doing anything. But again, nothing resulted. And when you look at the wording of the report, it apparently says, quote, James said that in March of 2002, redacted Josh, who had just turned 14, came to him very upset and crying. James said that redacted Josh had told him that he had been sneaking into redacted his sister's room at night and had been touching redacted his sisters on the genital areas while they were sleeping. And the report details that Josh went from sister to sister, stating apparently all of the girls were sleeping in a common room at this time. And then you go to what Josh was ultimately convicted of. So this is from the ICE website, how he was sentenced to, I mentioned, over 12 years in prison without the possibility of parole on one count of receiving child sexual abuse material following an investigation that was conducted by the Homeland Security Investigations of Fayetteville. And it goes to say, quote, according to court documents and evidence presented at trial, Joshua James Duggar, 34, repeatedly downloaded and reviewed images and videos depicting the sexual abuse of children, including images of prepubescent children and depictions of sadistic abuse. In addition to the 151-month sentence, Duggar must serve 20 years supervised release, register as a sex offender, and pay $50,000 in fines. Duggar, a former reality television personality who appeared with his family on the TLC series 19 Kids and Counting, installed a password-protected partition on the hard drive of his desktop computer at his used car lot in Springdale to avoid pornography-detecting software on the device. It goes to a knowledge component. He then accessed the partition to download child sexual abuse material from the internet multiple times over the course of 3 days in May of 2019. Again, goes to a lack of accident. The password for the partition was the same one he used for other personal and family accounts, so you're seeing how it's tied back to him. Duggar downloaded the material, used the dark web and online file sharing software, viewed it, and then removed it from his computer. Law enforcement in Arkansas detected Duggar's activity during an undercover investigation involving the online file sharing program, subsequently searched his car lot in November of 2019 and seized Duggar's desktop computer as well as other evidence. Significant evidence was found that pointed to Duggar's presence at the times of the offenses, including pictures that Duggar took on his phone that geolocated at or near the car lot, so really identifying him as the one who used these devices. Duggar also sent multiple time-stamped text messages to various individuals that indicated he was at the car lot at the relevant times, again tying him to the access. The messages were sent and the iPhone pictures were created at times within minutes of when the child sexual abuse material was downloaded or displayed on the desktop computer. Additionally, he was the only paid employee on the lot at those times. On December 9th, 2021, a federal jury in the Western District of Arkansas convicted Duggar of receiving and possessing material depicting minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct. And again, he's now serving his sentence at a low-security facility out in Texas, set to be released in 2032. Let's go back to Joseph and Kendra, okay? Full circle. March 18th, the Bay County Sheriff's Office announced that they were charging 31-year-old Joseph Duggar, again, the Duggar's 7th child, with lewd and lascivious behavior. Joseph and his family, wife Kendra, the 4 children, they were living in Arkansas. The Sheriff's Office said in a statement, quote, on March 18th, 2026, Bay County investigators were contacted by a detective with the Tontitown Police Department regarding a report of past sexual abuse. The 14-year-old victim participated in a forensic interview where she disclosed several incidents involving Duggar that occurred during a family vacation in Panama City Beach when she was 9 years old. According to the investigation, the incidents took place in 2020 while the family was staying at a residence on Danny Drive. The victim reported Duggar repeatedly asked her to sit on his lap. As the vacation continued, he also asked her to sit next to him on a couch and covered them with a blanket. During this time, Duggar manipulated the victim's underwear and grazed her genitals. Duggar would also continue to rub his hands on her thighs. The victim stated Duggar eventually apologized for his actions and the incident stopped after the apology. Investigators discovered the victim's father confronted Duggar about these incidents on March 17, 2026. Duggar admitted his actions to the victim's father and to Tontitown detectives. Duggar was arrested out of state and charged with lewd and lascivious behavior. Duggar is currently awaiting extradition to Bay County. Now, regarding that alleged admission to the detective and the victim's father over the phone, Joseph also allegedly, quote, admitted his intentions were not pure. That's according to the affidavit. If that's true, if that can come into evidence, that is a strong piece of evidence, particularly when there might not be forensic material, right, or video footage, but you do have the account there and now an apparent admission. By the way, I did a whole episode about this with Dave Arenberg, former Palm Beach County State Attorney, about what defenses could be mounted, the strength of this case, what we should be looking out for. You can check it out. It's on our Law&Crime YouTube channel. But the video from Washington County, we have this. It kind of gives us a bird's eye view of Duggar getting booked, the angles of officers searching him, getting his information into the jail system. Take a look.
Anything on you in the city in front of you?
No.
In your pocket, what do you have that's missing?
No, nothing at all.
Oh,
sorry, I thought you said if I had anything on me.
You said not in my pockets. I mean,
Yeah.
I needed what you got somewhere else.
Here, take it a minute.
All right.
Nothing at all.
Any injuries?
Well, I don't have anything to trace.
You been here before?
Not on this side. I think I got my brother went to school for getting police staff training.
Oh,
He
yeah.
got pepper sprayed out over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that name?
Duggar. He was gone before in Montana.
You just did training here?
Yes. He did part-time in Montana.
All right, remember, let's look into that for the phone before we go back there. What's your warrant for? And that's fine, just need to know if I need to put your baby something.
What's that?
Just didn't know what kind of job it was.
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
It's like,
You don't have to tell me anything else?
yeah, just today.
I'll go with that, okay?
Yeah. I like different.
You want to talk, sometimes we don't. I'll be there. I'm with you.
No, just keep it filled. Like, you can give me a lollipop with fill.
All right, hands behind your back, let's see on that bench right there. All right.
While this was going on, days later, what happens? Authorities in Arkansas announced that Joseph and his wife, 27-year-old Kendra, were hit with charges. The Tontitown police said on Facebook, as a result of the continuing investigation, additional charges have been filed in this case against Joseph Duggar and Kendra Duggar. Arrest warrants have been issued and served for the following misdemeanor offenses through district court. Misdemeanor, not a felony, right? Max sometimes 1 year in jail, so it's a lesser crime, but still a crime nonetheless, or alleged crime. You have 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor, 2nd degree, and 4 counts of false imprisonment, 2nd degree. And this remains, and they indicated that this remains an active and ongoing investigation. By the way, I should also tell you that Arkansas law strictly limits the information that may be released in cases involving minors and other sensitive circumstances to protect the integrity of the investigation and the privacy of those involved. No further details will be provided at this time. And that's the point. What led to this, right? So Kendra, we know, was released on bond, but why these charges? Well, here's the part. Law enforcement hasn't said for sure what led to this. I've just mentioned why. However, there was an alleged source, apparently close to the family, told People magazine that it had to do with the locks on the kids' doors in the house. Quote, I can tell you the arrest was a result of a home inspection and the door locks being on the exterior of the doors. A spokesperson for the family said that what Kendra is being charged with is totally unrelated to the felony charges that Joseph faces in Florida. Having said that, it does make me wonder if because of him being charged there again was an investigation to see what was at the house. The spokesperson told People she's not suspected or accused of participating in his alleged crime. Now, there have been some statements from the family. For example, Jinger spoke out about the arrests on her Jinger and Jeremy podcast, saying, it has been such a long week. It's been one of those weeks that feels like years, and I did not think my heart could break like it has this week. The pain and heartbreak that we've had over this, and just thinking of how it's affected so many, it's just unthinkable, so hard and painful on many levels. Jill Duggar and her family spoke out on a Dillard family blog saying, we were shocked yesterday evening to learn of Jill's brother, Joseph Duggar's arrest. We are shocked and heartbroken. The message continued, we strongly condemn abuse. We support the rule of law and hope that justice will be achieved. Our hearts go out to the innocent juvenile victim of this unspeakable crime and her family. We pray God gives her strength, comfort, and hope, and that she's able to get all the help and support she needs and deserves in the days ahead. Joseph's older brother, Josh, who I talked about before, apparently spoke out about the situation from behind bars through his attorney, told Us Weekly Josh Duggar does not know the details of the claims that have been made against his brother Joseph, but he knows the media frenzy that any incident regarding his family creates. He feels for his brother because everything is amplified out of proportion by the media interest in his family. This makes the pain of the criminal justice process exponentially worse. Josh prays for his brother and he hopes that he can stay strong. He too has felt the crushing wave of accusation that is powered by the media spectacle to which his family is subjected. As for Joseph, he apparently waived extradition. He's going to be headed to Florida to face those felony charges, and this is according to the Washington County Sheriff's Office. We'll see what comes next. But that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, 11 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. I'll see you next time, everybody.